The story takes place in a chicken factory in Illinois, where a chicken suspected of being sick is used to make nuggets. Unfortunately, this contaminated batch ends up at the local school, where a student named Shelley gets a piece. Meanwhile, we have Clint, a writer from New York who hasn't had much success so far. He returns to his hometown in Fort Chicken, Illinois, with his mother, who doesn't believe much in his potential. To impress her, Clint accepts a job as a substitute teacher at the elementary school. On the first day, the school security guard, Rick, tries to buy chocolates from him, but Clint has nothing to sell. And to complicate matters further, he gets stuck in the parking lot by the physical education teacher, Wade. When he finally gets out of the car, he discovers that someone wrote something obscene on the window. Taking a look around the school, he notices that there are many unruly students. Some even swear. In the office, he meets Vice Principal Sims, who takes Clint's phone because cell phones are not allowed at school, neither for teachers nor for students. Sims thinks it's better for children to play outside instead of being glued to their cell phones all the time, wanting them to feel what it was like before the internet. When Sims is about to hand him a map, Clint doesn't accept it, saying that he used to study at the elementary school. When he enters the teacher's lounge, he has a little difficulty fitting in because of their strange personalities. One of the teachers, Rebecca, has a button that calls the police if someone touches her inappropriately. Wade, the physical education teacher, doesn't pay much attention to him, and Doug, the sex education teacher, doesn't really know how to communicate with people. There's also Tracy, who seems to swing the other way, but Clint doesn't care about that and goes straight to talk to Lucy, one of the teachers he studied with. When Clint starts talking to Lucy, Wade joins the conversation. They start talking about the book Clint is writing, which is about a man who buys a haunted boat. But Wade notes that it seems similar to other books that have already been made. Later, Lucy accompanies Clint to his classroom, where he says that Wade is silly, but Lucy just laughs, saying that Wade is her boyfriend. In the classroom, Patriot and his friend Dink laugh at Shelley because of the bubbles on her face caused by the chicken pieces. When class begins, Clint tries to connect with the students, but Patriot starts laughing at him. Additionally, Patriot is still playing with his cell phone. When Clint tries to warn him, Patriot threatens to say that Clint was touching him inappropriately. He realizes that Patriot was the one who wrote on his car, so he decides to ignore it. Clint tries to continue the class in the best way possible, even with the distractions, having them read the draft of his story. Calvin raises his hand to volunteer, and while he's reading, Patriot starts bothering Shelley again. But when he pulls her braids, he ends up ripping off the skin along with it. Soon, Shelley turns to fight with Patriot and bites his face. Clint runs to break up the fight and is scratched by Shelley. Hey, the movie I'm summarizing is called Cooties. It's a movie that mixes action, horror, suspense, and comedy. The movie is very good, and the ending left me speechless, so hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to receive the best recaps. When Shelley escapes, Clint takes Patriot to the infirmary. Meanwhile, Rick finally gets his mushrooms and eats them in his car. During recess, Clint returns to the teacher's lounge and tells Lucy what happened. On the other hand, Dink confronts Shelley for attacking Patriot, but Shelley also attacks him. Wade notices the atmosphere between Clint and Lucy on the basketball court and starts to get irritated. Then, Rick sees that one of the sick children has started eating a school guard. Even with Wade nearby, he doesn't notice the terrible scene happening. Rick phones Sims to tell him what happened, but he is confused because of the mushrooms he consumed. Even so, Sims decides to go outside to check. But when he goes out, the children start attacking him. Meanwhile, Patriot is getting wild and sneaks into the principal's office. In the teacher's lounge, everyone is scared when they see the scene. Rebecca presses the button to call the police. Finally, Wade notices the sick children and runs into the school, managing to lock them outside. Meanwhile, Patriot damages the telephone lines in the office. Shortly after, Dave, the local sheriff, arrives, but is bitten when he tries to reach the children. He leaves immediately, but one of the children is hiding in his car and attacks him. Seeing that the police officer wasn't helpful, Wade decides to take control of the situation, but is ambushed by Patriot. Clint falls after being attacked by Patriot, and Rebecca uses a spray that instead of stinging the zombie's eyes, ends up stinging Clint's. Patriot attacks another teacher, who ends up getting trapped inside a closet. The other teachers take advantage of this to escape, and Wade leads the group. One of the teachers tries to escape from the school and ends up being devoured by the zombies. They find Calvin, who is fine, unaffected by the virus. They decide to take Calvin with them. They find a safe place to hide, even with Shelley following them. Patriot lets the other infected students into the building. While the teachers are trying to figure out what the students have, Calvin warns that the students have cooties, but no one takes it seriously except Doug, who realizes that Calvin is right. He begins to check Shelley's bubbles, but she quickly escapes. Wade suggests that they escape with their cars, but Clint insists they should go to the principal's office to get the phone and ask for help. Meanwhile, Patriot starts breaking the phones in the office, one at a time. With both sides fighting, Lucy intervenes to stop the fight. She suggests that they wait until 3 o'clock, when parents come to pick up their children. Then, they'll go up to the roof to ask for help. Suddenly, Lucy sees the scratch on Clint made by Shelley, so Wade puts him in a room to be isolated. But Doug enters with Clint to see the infection. Clint is infected, but in a different way than the children. It seems that, although Clint has flu symptoms, there is no risk of him becoming violent for now. When asked how Doug knows this, he shows his hands, saying that he examined Clint's fluids. After waiting a bit, it's soon 3 o'clock. The teachers, with Calvin, go to the roof to ask for help from a parent who has just arrived. However, the mother was too busy with her cell phone to notice what was happening. Additionally, her son, Racer, gets into the car and starts hurting his younger brother, and soon after, his mother. Suddenly, Tracy is grabbed by one of the children, Tamra, but it turns out that she isn't sick. After the other children notice them, the group runs inside and hides in the gym. Dink manages to catch Doug, so Wade takes a fire extinguisher and hits him. Meanwhile, Lucy tries to calm the two children, saying that everything will be fine as long as they haven't been bitten or scratched. But Tamra shows a scratch on her back. Therefore, Lucy takes her to the bathroom to be alone. After the incident, Doug begins to examine Dink to understand what is happening. Meanwhile, Rick is still inside his car, still feeling the effects of the mushrooms he ate. Despite all the confusion, Lucy confronts Wade about their relationship because he is jealous of Clint. It is discovered that Wade was planning to propose to Lucy, but hesitated when he saw her smiling with Clint. Later, Doug finishes his investigation and tells everyone what he discovered. It turns out that it may be a virus in which the children are already starting to decompose, despite still being able to do other things. So technically, they are no longer human. Then Lucy says that Clint and Tamra didn't change even after being scratched. Then Doug says that it only affects those who haven't gone through puberty yet. Suddenly, the lights go out because Patriot turns off the switches. The teachers, worried, look at Calvin and see him sleeping. It turns out that Calvin has diabetes and needs something sweet to eat. They hear noises in the walls and start to get scared because the door is opening. While they're scared, Lucy tells Wade that she cannot marry him. Suddenly, the doors open, and it's just the janitor, Mr. Hitachi. But the infected children come running into the gym and follow the janitor to the boiler room. Lucy wants to feed Calvin first, but Mr. Hitachi also doesn't have anything sweet. Now on the radio, they're saying that everyone should leave the city soon, so they realize that no one else will come to help. Clint, seeing that there isn't much choice, decides to act. They decide to use the tubes to move around. First to get a snack for Calvin from the food machine, then to get the keys to Wade's truck in the teacher's lounge. But since Clint is the smallest, he is the one who has to do this. Before leaving, he leaves the bag with Tracy, and Tamra gives him something for lice. While he goes through the tubes, the other teachers talk to him over the radio. Instead of giving support, Wade just keeps arguing. Then Lucy, tired of this, starts screaming before following Clint through the tubes. After a while, they reach the teacher's lounge and Clint tries to get a snack. Meanwhile, Lucy takes Wade's keys before trying to get a phone in the office, but she can't since all the phones have been broken. When Clint is alone, he can't get the snack because the machine doesn't accept the money. Suddenly, a boy who looked like a zombie appears riding a bicycle, so Clint hides near the machine. But out of nowhere, the vending machine starts to work. The noise alerts the boy, who starts screaming, which makes Patriot listen. Patriot is running towards Clint, but he doesn't go back to the ducks until he gets some food. Soon, Lucy and Clint start crawling back, but as Patriot is getting close, Clint just throws the food in the direction of the group through the tube before following another path. Lucy and Clint arrive at a different room and trap the zombie boys in the ducts. Because of this, the zombies go in the direction of the group, so Clint warns them. Successfully, they manage to lock themselves in, but Tracy starts to panic because this means they are trapped. While Clint and Lucy are locked together, they begin to have more serious conversations. Clint confesses that he wanted to see Lucy. That's why he returned to Illinois. Additionally, he admits that he is not yet a writer, but a first-grade teacher in New York. Because they are liking each other more, the two kiss, but soon after regret it. While they were talking, Clint has a new idea. Meanwhile, the other teachers talk about what they want to do in life. A short time later, Lucy speaks to the group over the radio and Wade responds. He apologizes to Lucy for acting badly, saying he was jealous of Clint because he is well known in New York, while Wade is just a physical education teacher. After that, Clint talks about the times he failed and promises to support their relationship. Then Clint says he has a plan to give medicine to the zombies. So Clint and Lucy do exactly that. Meanwhile, Wade begins to lead the group to find things they can use to defend themselves. Clint tells the rest of the plan to the group, not knowing that others are listening over the radio, like Rick and Patriot. Finally, when the zombies are sleeping with medicine, everyone meets in the hallway to go to Wade's truck. At the beginning, everything is fine, but then the children who turned into zombies start attacking one by one. Wade pushes them away by throwing baseballs. When they leave, they don't notice that Mr. Hitachi stays behind to fight against the zombies that are approaching. Meanwhile, the rest of the people face the zombies that are attacking from outside. They manage to reach the truck, but Wade sacrifices himself to hold back the zombies while the rest escape. He passes the keys to Clint, but Lucy doesn't want to leave Wade alone. Clint holds her while they watch Wade being overwhelmed by the zombie children. With no other option, they leave him behind. On the way, they don't notice that Patriot is climbing onto the roof of the truck after hiding in the back. When Clint sees that they are almost out of gas, Patriot grabs Clint through the window. Clint brakes abruptly to throw him out. Without hesitation, Clint reverses and crushes Patriot against a tree. When they return to driving, they arrived at a nearby town called Danville, but surprisingly, it's completely abandoned. They ran out of gas, so they had to get out of the car. In a nearby electronics store, they saw on the news about the disease that's spreading all over the world, becoming an epidemic. They said it started in a factory called Fort Chicken. Doug had an idea. If they could get one of the infected nuggets, maybe he could make a vaccine. Suddenly, they saw a bunch of zombies coming towards them. Then they ran to the nearest building, a playground. Inside, they saw that there had been a party and that they had served the infected nuggets. Doug took one to investigate. They were cornered by the zombies with no way out. Then Wade appeared with Mr. Hitachi to save them. Wade told them to get in the van while he distracted the infected with a spray. When they left, they blocked the infected in the playground. They got into the van, driven by Rick, who was still tripping on mushrooms. Clint saw that Wade was using water to stop the infected, but said it wouldn't work. But actually, it was gasoline. So Wade set fire to the building after everyone got out, and the movie ends with them wandering around aimlessly to protect themselves. Hey, what rating would you give this movie? Write it in the comments, and don't forget to activate the bell to be notified of new summaries. In the first pinned comment, I'll leave a playlist of just zombie movies I recommend watching. So, until next time,